My name is William Jenkins. I am 26, decent looking, and have a good job. It is Sunday morning, and I am having a second coffee while reading the Sunday paper. A large two-column picture caught. As I stared at the picture, my mind was lost in thought. 2 years had passed since we parted, and seeing the woman's face in the picture still hurt me. Who could cause such a reaction, you ask? That is my story. I was living and working in a small college town that had 4 colleges in it. I was 23 years old at the time. 2 of the colleges were girls' schools. One was a state university and one large business college. There were lots of pretty young co-eds, what you might call a target-rich environment. One of my buddies was in between semesters and was working at our place to earn enough money to finish his education. Stephen was also a member of one of the fraternities at the state school. He and I were each other's wingmen on many a mission. Our mission was to have carnal knowledge of as many of the young lovelies as may possible. We were very good, so our targets seldom escaped. Stephen and I were at a sorority mixer and having a great time. There was free booze, free snacks, and an abundance of co-eds. I was doing a scouting mission to see which of the young ladies was to be the lucky one for this evening. Let me say at that period of my life, I was a bit of a quarter-day nopahana to no one, to read, or a conceited ass. In my mind, I was a God's gift to women. I had the moves, looks, and attitude to be successful with a lot of the college girls. I lacked the sincerity to have a meaningful relationship. At that time of my life, that was okay, though. I spotted a likely candidate, a cute, petite redhead, and was just about to make a move when Stephen grabbed my arm. He steered me toward a group of girls standing off to the side of the party. They seemed to be watching, but not partaking in the festivities. In the middle of this group was an outstanding example of the desirable college co-ed. She was poised, well-dressed, had a nice figure, and her face was beautiful. I asked Stephen who she was. That is Leona Morris. He informed me. She is untouchable. Leona goes to Williams College, one of the girls' schools, and never dates the same guy twice. The few guys that have taken her out swear she is gay or a cold fish. None of them got as far as holding hands with her, and you can't have her either. She's not gay, I told Stephen. Watch her look at the men as they walk by. She is totally checking them out. I think she is just very guarded and a little picky. She won't become too deeply involved with just any man. Wow, Dr. Phil, you have her all figured out without even talking to her. Stephen laughed at me. You are amazing, sir. No one's second thought. You are full of it. Do you know any of the other girls in that group? Yeah, the blonde is Monica Robinson. She goes to UM like me. We had a couple of classes together. Stephen answered. We went out on a few dates, but there was no real spark, so we quit dating and stayed friends. Why? I'm going to prove that Leona isn't gay or a cold fish. Your part will be to introduce me to Monica. I'll take it from there. Okay, but you are wasting your time, William. Stephen warned me. We walked over to the group and Stephen said hello to Monica. After a short conversation with her, he introduced me. I said hello, and Monica introduced the rest of the group. There were 4 other girls, but all I remembered was Leona. When Stephen, Monica, and I began to talk, I would include the other girls, but not Leona. I ignored her. If she joined in, I would listen and then turn away from her without an answer or comment. As an example, when Leona told me she went to Williams, I said, yeah, and went back to talking to Monica and the others. She was getting a little upset. Stephen and I said goodbye to the group and started home. When we got back to my car, Stephen shook his head and looked at me. You sure made a great impression on Leona. You didn't say a word to her and cut her off when she tried to join in. I can see your plan. You will make her so angry that she will date you just to get your attention. Great plan. Oh, ye of little faith, my plan is working fine, I explained. Look, every guy Leona has ever met has told her how pretty she is and tried to make moves on her. She is not used to being ignored. It will get her interested. Leona will begin to think, why isn't this guy after me? What's wrong with me? She won't be able to stand it. Then Leona will come after me. It's in the bag. Stephen laughed at me and then said, good luck. Do me a favor. Find out more about her for me. I need to know where she eats, gets coffee, shops, and anything else you can get. Will you help me? Sure, buddy. Stephen said, I'll get the info from some of the sorority sisters and have the goods in a couple of days. I thanked Stephen and then drove home. 2 days later, Stephen gave me a report. He told me all the things that I wanted to know about Leona, and I set my plan in motion. Starting the next evening, and every spare minute I had, I sort of hung around whatever place she was. If Leona was at the coffee shop, I would go in and get a drink and leave. If she was at the sandwich shop eating, I would stop in and get something to eat. I would even try to be around when she was shopping. All this groundwork went on for 3 weeks. It didn't happen every time, or every day that she went out, but it did happen enough that she began to notice me. That was the plan. First contact came at the coffee shop. You gave and received your order at the counter. I was in line waiting my turn when Leona got in line behind me. Turning around, I nodded at her as I pretended to look behind her at something else. She smiled at me. I looked at her again and said, "Hi, I think we have met before, but I can't remember your name. I'm William Jenkins." "I'm Leona Morris. We met at the Delta Zeta Mixer last month," she replied. "That's right. Now I remember you were with Monica Robinson. Sorry, I'm not very good with names." We both got our coffee and she invited me to sit with her. I hesitated just for effect and then joined her at a patio table. Leona gave me a little smile and said, "What are you doing, William?" "What do you mean?" "Come on, William. You have been damn near stalking me for the last 3 weeks. Everywhere I go, there you are. The same coffee shop, the same diners, even at the mall. There you are. Don't try to deny it. It has happened way too much for coincidence. You're following me. Why?" I looked at her and then confessed. I told her that it was my plan to get her to notice me. Again, why? She asked, how much to tell her. At this point, I think that truth was the best way to go. Well, maybe not the whole truth. "Leona, I want to get to know you, take you out and spend time with you." I figured that every guy that met you fell all over themselves trying to get your interest. They would tell you how pretty you are, how nicely you dressed, and anything else to flatter you. All of them were trying to get you to keep them for more than one date. I don't want to be just another guy to you. So I made this plan to pique your interest in me. I felt that if I played it cool and didn't fawn all over you, I might have a chance to really get to know you. "William, that's maybe the craziest thing I even heard," Leona responded. "Yeah, weird, huh? Well, I won't bother you anymore. I'm sorry if I scared you, so please don't be angry. I'm really not a psycho. I'm not mad. I'm flattered. No one has even gone to all that trouble just to get to know me. Usually they ask me out, and sometimes I say yes. They're all the same. They think I'm pretty, and that's all they see. Guys seldom see or want to know about my thoughts, my goals, or my mind. You were different. Here's my address. Pick me up at 7 o'clock. Take me to dinner," she ordered as she gave me a card. "Yes, my lady," I replied with a smile. Mission accomplished. That evening on my way to pick up Leona, I had a talk with myself. Okay, I thought, you've got a foot in the door. Don't blow it by being like all the other guys she has dated and dumped. Keep your head in the game, no matter how great she looks. Talk to her, and pay attention. Make her believe you really care about her politics, philosophies, and goals. You have to stand out from the rest to keep her. I pulled up to the apartment building, and Leona came out to meet me at the truck. Before I could get out to open her door, she jumped into the truck. We went to a little Italian mom-and-pop place that I found. It wasn't a college hangout, and much more intimate. It was a nice time where we talked about a lot of different things, and something strange happened. The plan called for me to pretend that I cared about what she was into. However, as the night came to a close, I realized that I really did care. This girl was amazing, at least to me. That was sort of a scary thought for a player like me. I wanted to see more of her. And not just as a score. I really liked this girl. We were sitting in the car in front of her place, and I decided to come clean. I didn't know how she would take the whole truth, but I wanted this to go further. I thought I had to tell her everything. "Leona, I need to tell you something." What I said earlier today about not wanting to be just another guy was entirely true. However, at the time I said all that stuff, it was an adaptation of my plan. Now, after spending the evening with you, I realized that the part about getting to know you and spending time with you is actually the truth. I just didn't know it this morning. I'm sorry I did that. I have found that you are much more than just a pretty face, and I do want to spend more time with you. I guess I blew it. Thanks for going to diner with me. and I guess I'll see you around. I was totally dejected. I had found a girl that actually caught my interest, and my schemes and plans had lost her. Damn, I'm such an ass sometimes. My goodness. When you get to talking, you just don't stop, do you? Nice speech. But what makes it nicer is, I think you really mean it. Tonight you have been different than I thought you would be. I looked at her puzzled. What do you mean? I checked you out. You have a reputation in our little community, William. You're a player and a good one, according to most of the girls I talk to. None of them had any complaints, by the way, except that you aren't into relationships. I know you ignored me at the mixer on purpose. It was part of this plan of yours. Oh hell, I groaned. No one has ever gone to all this trouble to meet me and get me to go out with. It is very flattering. Let's see where this takes us. No more bullshit, though. Okay? So started our time together. Almost every night of the week we were together. It was a whirlwind of diners, movies, and college parties. During all this, I developed real feelings for Leona. I don't know if I was in love, but it was definitely more than just a strong like. We were going out so much that I finally had to cut back some. My bankroll just couldn't handle 20 to 25 dates a month. The third time I begged off on an invitation to do something with Leona. She wanted to know what was up. Remember what I said when we started dating? No bullshit, William. What is going on? You've turned me down for 3 dates in the last 10 days. Tell me all about it, Leona demanded. I'm sorry, Leona. It's a macho male thing. I just can't afford to take you out as much as we have been doing. I'm just a working guy here. My salary isn't very large yet. Right now, it doesn't leave a huge amount after expenses. It's not that I don't want to see you. I just can't afford to take you out somewhere almost every night. I'm sorry. Leona took my hand, smiled at me, and said, You ask? You should have said something. We don't have to spend money every time we go out. There are museums, galleries, walks by the river, and more that we can do. We can spend some evenings at your place or my place and just watch TV. You don't have to spend money every time. I guess I was embarrassed by my lack of money. Tell you what, we will go out to eat or a movie or whatever twice a week. You pay one time and I will pay the next. The other nights we will do the free stuff and just spend time together. No arguments. That's the way it will be. Unless, and I just thought of this, you just want time away from me, Leona stated. No way I would spend every night with you. I really want to be with you, I answered. So that's the way it was. Shortly after that, we were walking by the river one evening, and the stars must have been aligned just right. We made love that night, right there on the river bank. It was almost perfect, except for the mosquitoes. We really didn't notice the bites until we were in the shower at her place later. That was the first night that I stayed all night in her apartment. It wouldn't be the last. The next morning, I left Leona in bed and left to go to work. My truck wouldn't start. I ran back up to the apartment to call a taxi, and she asked what was wrong. I told her about the truck and that I was calling a cab. She said it's not necessary, that I could take her car, and threw me the keys. It's in the basement garage in space 27. When you get off work, run by your place and pick up some clothes, and then come back here. You can shower and get ready here. It's my night to pick the place and my turn to buy. See you around 5:30. You better go. You'll be late. Leona said as she kissed me. I went to the basement garage to get her car. Hope it's not one of those little roller skates on wheels. But I guess I couldn't be picky right now. It wasn't a roller skate on wheels. Parked in space 27 was a 1-year-old Corvette, convertible. It was even my favorite color for a vet, candy apple red. I thought I might have the wrong car, but the license plate said Glory 1. Holy shit. Steven and the rest of the guys saw me pull into work in the vet. He asked me about the car, and I told him it was Leona's. I admit it, you are the best there is. Great one. Steven kidded me. How did you get of her car? My truck wouldn't start, and she told me to take her car. I had no idea she even owned a car, much less a vet. I answered him. I was the envy of all of the guys at work and walked a little taller that day. After work, I met Leona and we went to dinner. She told me to drive her car for a while as she didn't use it very much. Now I had a Corvette to drive. I basically moved into Leona's luxury apartment. It beat the hell out of the dive I was living in. We split the cost of the dates. It just seemed like every time we went to a fancy and expensive place to eat, it was Leona's turn to pay. I'm not sure how she worked that out. She began to buy me presents. I tried to tell her it wasn't necessary, but she said she liked to buy things for me. Leona bought me 4 or 5 suits so I could take her to the high-class parties she was invited to. The suits cost about $500 each. Nice rags. One Sunday afternoon, while on a picnic, I told Leona I felt uncomfortable accepting all the gifts she bought me. I also told her I felt funny letting her pay for all the fancy places we went to. Don't you want me to be happy, William? Sure, I want you to be happy, Leona, I answered her. It makes me happy to give you things. I like going to the fancy places and I like going with you. Leona, how can you afford all this? I'm in school on a full scholarship and I have a small trust fund to pay expenses. Leona informed, the fund isn't much, but with the scholarship, it's enough to enjoy myself. Please, William, don't feel uncomfortable. Let me be happy. If I had been a man of principle, I would have stopped taking her gifts, driving her car, and living in her plush apartment. 2 things stopped me from showing those principles. 1, I wanted Leona to be happy, and if made her happy to buy me things. 2, I liked being pampered. I was having a great time with Leona. Not only did I get to drive a Vetta, got really nice presents, and attend fancy places, I was doing it with Leona. I was beginning to go past and getting closer to love. This gal was everything I could ever want in a partner. I thought some more about the car, the presents she bought for me, and the money she spent on our dates. I wondered where she got her money. I got online and did a little research to get some information. Surprise, Leona had money. I don't mean just comfortable. I mean rich, go to hell, type money, small trust funds, my butt. It seems that her father and uncle owned controlling interest in the largest stock and pet feed company in the country. According to the internet, the company was worth in excess of $50 million, and Leona is the only heir to the fortune. My girlfriend is an heiress. It didn't make any difference to me as I was already falling in love with her before I knew about the money. If it didn't bother her, it sure didn't bother me. We continued living together, going out and just having a good time for 8 months. Then my world came crashing down around It was Saturday morning. I had finished my shower and managed to nag Leona into getting up. We had planned a picnic with our friends for later in the day, but we didn't have much time to waste. Being out pretty late last night, we had almost overslept. The doorbell rang, and as I finished putting on my jeans, I answered it. The man at the door asked, "Is Leona at home?" "Yeah, she's in the shower. Can I help you?" "You must be William," he said. "Could you tell her I'm here, please?" "Sure, who are you?" I asked. "I'm Tristan Brooks, her fiancé," he answered. I asked him to come in and wait, that I would tell Leona he was here. I tried not to show it, but I was stunned. Her fiancé, what the hell? I went into the bathroom to tell Leona. She had just got out of the shower, and when I came in, she grabbed and kissed me. Leona asked if we could skip the picnic and go back to bed. "Leona, there's a guy named Tristan Brooks in the living room. He wants to see you, and he says, he's your fiancé, what's going on, honey?" "Oh hell," Leona responded. "Get dressed and take him to the coffee bar downstairs. I'll call you when I'm ready." "Leona, what the hell? Your fiancé? I think we need to talk." "I know, but right now I need to get dressed. I will explain everything to you later." I went back to the living room, told the guy what Leona had asked, and escorted him down the coffee shop on the main floor. I was stunned and didn't have any idea on how to react. He looked at me with compassion. "I know all about you, William, so don't start freaking out. Leona's dad and I have known about her little romance for some time. We thought the time had finally come. It put an end to it. Leona and I will get married, but she keeps delaying it. She has hooked up with 3 guys, including you, in the last 2 years. If it's any consolation, you have lasted twice as long as anyone else. Why do you put up with that? I mean, she is your fiancé. Don't you care that she lives with other men? Well, you're the only one she's ever been intimate with or moved in with. She must care a lot about you. That's why we decided to put a stop to your affair. Look, William, you seem like a pretty good guy, so I'll give you a heads up. You can parlay this breakup into a large sum of money. I am authorized to offer you $5,000 to just walk away." I couldn't believe it. They were going to give me a lot of money to dump Leona. I stared at the floor for a minute. My mind was in a whirl. What to do? Before I met Leona, being the player I had been, I would have taken the money and run. Trouble was, I was falling in love with her. I would rather have her money or no money. My cell phone rang. It was Leona, and she asked me to send Tristan up to her place. She said she would talk to me after talking to him. Leona noticed my hesitation and said that she would only be 20 to 30 minutes, and then we would talk. I sent Tristan up to her. I had to wait 30 minutes to find out if my life was going to be flushed down the toilet. It was 27 minutes later when Tristan came out of the elevator. He walked over to me. "I'm leaving, William. Please consider taking the money. You deserve it for what you are going. Leona wants you to come up now. Good luck, William." He left, and I got into the elevator. Leona was waiting with the door opened. She looked at me with a sad little smile and then hugged me. I didn't know what to do or what to ask. We sat down on the couch. Leona started with, "William, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to mislead you or to hurt you if nothing else believed that. So I'm history." "Is that it, Leona?" I was getting both mad and scared. "You were just supposed to be just a distraction for me, William, but you sort of worked your way into my heart. I may even love you, but we have to stop this. I have to go home and do my duty to the family. Please don't hate me. I really have developed feelings for you, but it's time for me to go home." I just sat there as Leona started packing. She had one more surprise for me. She handed me an envelope that seemed a little heavy. "That is the title and keys to the Corvette. I don't want it around. It would only remind me of you. The keys to the apartment are in there also. The lease is paid for another year, so you might as well make use of it. I know you don't want to take either, but please make use of them and think about me once in a while. Goodbye, William." So here I am 2 years later reading the society page about the wedding of the year. Leona Morris and Tristan Brooks were wedded, etc., etc., etc. There were several pictures of the happy couple, except Leona didn't look all that happy. I still have the Corvette, but I no longer live at the apartment we shared. 2 months after Leona left me, I received a letter from the Tristan Brooks. Inside was a check for $5,000. I was tempted to cash it for about 0 seconds, but the check was sent back. Across the front, I had written, "Send Leona, keep your damn money. Leona did her duty as she saw it. I hope she can find some happiness, because I sure haven't been able to." Part 2. The return address on the letter transported me back in time. It read Leona Brooks, St. Louis, Mo. I hadn't heard from the bitch for 4 years. What could she want? Why was she writing me? Hadn't she screwed with me enough back then? 4 years ago, Leona and I had a thing for a few months. I was working in the college town where she was going to school and met her through a mutual friend. I had used this elaborate plan to get close to her, but she knew exactly what I was doing and called me on it. That was how our relationship started. It ended after 8 months when Leona's fiancé came to our apartment. I am William Jenkins and I'm now 28. At the time that Leona and I met, I was 24. I had been a player with the ladies until I met her. Once I met her, no other woman could get or hold my interest. Leona was heiress to the largest stock and pet food company in the country. Her father and uncle owned the company, and she was the only heir to the fortune. That wasn't why I loved her. I didn't know about the money until near the end of our relationship. I thought we were in love and would be together for a long time. That idea was flushed down the tube when her fiancé showed up at our apartment. His name was Tristan Brooks, and he told me she had these little affairs all the time. When Leona left me, she told me that she did care for me, maybe even loved me, but she had to go home and do her duty and marry this Brooks guy. Now, using hindsight, I think she just wanted a boy toy for as long as she could have one. I was that boy toy, at least one of them anyway. Her fiancé told me I was only one of 3 or 4 such guys. She had given me some going-away presents. I had 5 or 6 expensive suits, a great watch, a year's lease on her luxury apartment, and a year-old Corvette. Pretty good pay for. The time I spent with her, I would have rather had Leona. 2 years after we parted, I saw the story and pictures of her marriage in the society page. Even after 2 years, it had still bothered. I hadn't quite gotten over her at that time. When Leona left, I pulled into a shell. I ate, slept, went to work, and then went home to start the cycle all over. I wasn't a player anymore. I didn't have the heart for it. I wasn't having a lot of fun. The only time I went out was to a coffee bar once or twice a week. About 3 months after Leona left me and went back home, I ran into a very pretty young lady, Monica Robinson, at the coffee bar. I already knew her. Stephen, one of my coworkers, had introduced me to her, and she had in turn introduced me to Leona. Monica knew all about Leona and that Leona had dumped me. I hadn't really planned to do more than just nod at Monica. In a way, I had used her to get close to Leona, and I wasn't proud of myself for doing so. "Hey, William, how are you?" Monica surprised me with her greeting. "I haven't seen you around lately. Don't you like us anymore?" "Hello, Monica. I guess I don't travel in the same circles anymore," I replied. "You know, just because Leona is gone doesn't mean you can't come to the parties anymore. Stephen and I, among others, miss you. To be honest, I haven't felt like joining you guys. I'm still a little groggy over Leona's leaving, and I'm a little ashamed about the way I used you, Monica. I have heard that confession is good for the soul, but I felt like crap telling her that." Monica smiled at me and said, "Don't worry about it. I don't. I knew why. You wanted Stephen to introduce us. Your eyes kept glancing at Leona, and I realized then that she was who you were after." When she finished, she laughed at the look on my face. "Come on, you can buy the coffee and tell me all about what happened." After we got our coffee, Monica took my arm and sort of led me to a booth in the back. We spent more than an hour talking about Leona and me. Somewhere during that discussion, I started to come back to life. I began to think I was going to live after all. As Monica was getting ready to go back to her dorm, said to me, "I think Leona made a big mistake in leaving you, William. I also think you need to get your head out and go on with your life. Give me a call sometime." With that parting shot, she left. She was right. I was acting like a little boy that lost his favorite toy and was pouting. It was time to grow up, straighten up, and get on with my life. I called Monica a few days later, and we went for pizza and beer. It was a very enjoyable time. We began to see each other more as friends than anything else. I can't pinpoint when the relationship changed from friends to something more. I just knew that it did. I was still living in Leona's apartment, as the lease had another 3 months before expiring. If I was ever going to get over her and get my head out, I needed to get a place of my own. Monica had invited me to her dorm several times, but refused to set foot in my place. I finally got it through my thick skull. Why? I rented an apartment over the garage at an elderly ladies' home. Maintenance around the house, such as painting and taking care of the yard, was part of my rent. Monica helped to get my place comfortable and livable. In addition, I sold the Corvette and got a Mustang out with all the baggage I had been carrying. Monica and I dated right up to her graduation, a period of 9 months or so. We didn't run through the streets and tear each other's clothes off. Our intimacy was special. The relationship evolved and was not just about our time together was more quality than quantity. But I was having a hard time fully committing to Monica and our relationship. Guess I was still hung up on Leona. The night after her graduation, Monica brought it all to a head. "William, I have been waiting for you to get over Leona. I had hoped you would, but I can see that you are still thinking about her." I started to interrupt, but she put up her hand. "No, don't deny it. You are holding back, and we both know why." She hesitated and then said, "I have accepted a good job in San Antonio, and I'm moving there next week. I thought you were going to work and live in St. Louis." I questioned her. Then we could see each other on weekends and such. "I was going to do that, but I can't. We can't, and I won't continue like this. You are still thinking of Leona half the time, and I'm getting shortchanged in our relationship. I won't go on. If you ever get over Leona, come and see me." Monica left the next week, and I didn't even get to see her to say goodbye. There is an adage that says, you don't know what you've lost until it's gone. I guess it's true. Maybe that's why it's an adage. It didn't take long before I realized how much I cared for Monica. I didn't know if I was ready to love her, but I did know I missed her a lot. 3 weeks after Monica moved, I wrote a letter to her. In it, I told her how much I missed her and hoped she was doing okay. Nothing much, just letting her know I was thinking of her. Instead of a return letter, I got a phone call. That was better than a letter. After that call, we would talk on the phone 2 or 3 times a month, and maybe write every month or so. I asked Monica a few times about coming to see her. Her answer was always the same. "Have you got your head back in the game yet?" Until you can truthfully say yes, There is no need to see each other. Our calls continued for about 2 months, and something new began to happen. I would get her voicemail more frequently and have to leave a message. When and if she returned my call, I didn't mention her being out at night more. I didn't feel I had the right to question her. This continued for a month. Then I called Monica a little late on a Friday night, about 11:30. To be honest, I thought if I called it a later time, I would get her and not the answering machine. I got the machine. The next morning, I called her again at 7 o'clock. I was becoming somewhat of a stalker, I guess. A man answered the phone. "Oh, is Monica there?" I was a little shocked and wondered why a man answered her phone. Who is this guy? Yeah, but she's still sleeping. If it's important, I can wake her up, or I can take a message. He was trying to be helpful, which just pissed me off, even more. No real message. Just tell her William called and I won't bother her again. You sure, William? I can wake her up if you want me to. She needs to get up anyway. We have to shower and get dressed because I have a plane to catch. He actually sounded like a nice guy. No, it's not necessary. I don't think it would matter anyway. Thanks and goodbye. I hung up. Real smart jerk face. You should have just asked her to call. I guess I thought after my little tantrum, Monica would call me back right away. It didn't work out that way. 2 weeks went by with no call. I guess I'll have to face it. We are history. That's just great. Absolutely great. First, Leona leaves me for dead and now I have lost Monica too. I know, losing Monica was my own fault, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. 3 weeks to the day after my last message to Monica, she called. It was 10 o'clock on Saturday morning and I was still in bed. The previous evening I had decided to see if I could still drink as much as I used to. I can't. My head was throbbing when I answered the phone. What? I yelled into the phone. My, aren't we a ray of sunshine this morning? Monica said, laughing. Are you okay, William? Monica, is that you? Why are you calling? You don't have to bite my head off, you know. I haven't heard from you in over 2 weeks, and I have wanted to make sure everything was okay. She told me, oh hell, I'm sorry. I guess I'm hungover. No, wait, I know I'm hungover. My head is pounding and my mouth tastes like old sweat socks. It's okay. Now, why haven't you called? I did. About 2 weeks ago, early on a Saturday morning, your boyfriend answered the phone. I gave him a message for you. I answered. I never got a message. Wait, my boyfriend? What do you mean, my boyfriend? Monica sounded puzzled. When was this again? It must have been on the 13th. The guy said you were still asleep, but he could wake you up. And he had to take a shower and get him to the airport. I told him to tell you I had called. Since she hadn't gotten the message, I wasn't going to tell her about my little temper tantrum. I'm so sorry, William. I never got the message. That wasn't my boyfriend. That was my stupid brother, Kevin. He has been staying with me for the last month. Wait until I get hold of him. I'll teach him not to give me messages. Your brother? My mood changed for the better, yeah. Kevin was staying with me while he worked on a project here. He finished his work and went back. Okay, dummy. I thought to myself, now is the time to tell her how you feel. Enough of this friendship bullshit. You have nothing to lose but some phone calls that make you feel worse than you did before anyway. I had made a decision. Monica, I need to talk to you about something important. Have you got some time right now? Sounds serious? Sure, I have all day. Go ahead, she responded. So I spilled my guts. I told her that I didn't know how much I cared for her until she left. I told her that I had my head on straight. Like she said, I told her that I could truthfully say that I didn't love Leona. Finally, I said, Monica, remember you telling me that you couldn't go on the way we were? Well, that's where I'm at. I can't go on like this. If you don't want to be more than friends, then let's stop the torture. At least it's torture to me. So what do you think? Monica was quiet for a moment and then said, I think you should come to San Antonio next weekend. I don't want to wait. I'm on my way. See you soon. I called my boss and arranged for some time off. I made the 2-hour drive to St. Louis and jumped a plane for San Antonio. Monica met me at the airport. How did you know what flight I was on? I was surprised that she was there. A little research online. There are several flights from St. Louis, but this was the first one. I was going to meet each plane until you showed up. Monica informed me. The next month was wonderful. I spent the weekends at Monica's, or she was my place. I found that I had moved on and was ready to commit fully to Monica. My company had a division in a suburb of San Antonio, and I was able to transfer there. I moved in with Monica and life was good. There was some adjustment, but the transition went smoothly. Monica and I were married and started our new life together. We had only been married a short time when I saw the pictures of Leona's wedding. That was the only hint of a problem in our marriage, and that was mostly in my mind. I didn't know if I should mention the story to Monica or should I keep quiet about it. If I said something, would she think I still had feelings for Leona? And if I said nothing, would she think I was trying to hide feelings for Leona? I put down the Sunday paper and looked at Monica. She was making breakfast. Maybe I should diffuse the situation and not let it develop into a problem. Hey babe, here's a story about Leona's wedding. I guess Tristan Brooks finally got her to do the deed, about the time he pulled in her reins. Monica looked at me with a little smile and said, I know. I opened the paper to that story and left it for you. She almost laughed at the surprised look on my face. I wanted to see how you handled it. You passed with flying colors, by the way. Leona and our relationship was never mentioned again. That is until I received that letter 4 years after she dumped me. As I said before, what does the bitch want? I opened the letter to see why the hell she was writing me, especially after all this time. The letter was in Leona's handwriting and read, Dear William, it's been a long time and I know you are wondering why I'm contacting you now, after all this time. The truth is that I couldn't take it anymore. Even though I fought the temptation for years, I finally had to contact you. When I left you, I did so because I had to. If I hadn't gone home, my father would have quit paying the bills. After my father's ultimatum, delivered by Tristan, I had to go home and grow up a little. I enjoyed my lifestyle too much to give the money up. I delayed the marriage for 2 years, but at last decided to go ahead with it. Being married didn't change anything, and I still live the way I want. I just have to be careful. Tristan is my husband in name only, but he doesn't mind. As my husband, he is insured of a life of leisure. He also has his outside interests and is also very discreet. My problem is that I have never forgotten you, William. I told you when I left, I really cared for you. That hasn't changed. Time has only made me regret my decision that day. I should have talked you into moving to St. Louis. We could have continued seeing each other on the side, sort of. I will be in San Antonio next month for 1 week and thought we might have lunch or maybe dinner to rehash old times. I would love to take a ride in the Corvette with you. What do you think? Please let me know your decision before the 21st of next month. If we are going to meet, I will have to adjust my schedule. Hope to hear from you soon. Love, Leona == == == == I was totally shocked. Also, I was totally pissed off. She had dropped me like a bad habit, and now she wants to just waltz back into my life. I was right 4 years ago. She was a round-heeled bitch that just got caught by daddy. Not only no, but hell no. The only question was, should I tell Monica? That evening, Monica was about an hour late getting home. After dinner, we sat out on our deck, and I handed Leona's letter to her. What's this? She asked me. Look at the return address and then read the letter, honey, I told her. Monica looked at the return address and read the letter. As she read, her face started to get red. Red as in anger. Red as in I'm going to kick someone's ass. Red as in, are you going? She finished the letter and fixed me with her stare. She was pissed. Hold on just a second, I ordered her. Monica was about to explode. Now read this letter. The letter read, Dear Leona, it was really nice to hear from you after all the years. I'm sorry, but I sold the Corvette about 6 months after you left. Never mind that. It would be nice to see you. My wife Monica and I would love to join you for dinner and a few drinks. When you get into town, just give us a call and we will meet you. Our number is listed below. Thanks for thinking of us and hope to hear from you soon. Bye for now. Your friends, William and Monica. When Monica finished my letter, her face was still red. Well, this time it was red because she was laughing so hard. Finally, she quit laughing and leaned over to kiss me. That is a great way to tell her to go to hell. Very devious lover. I'm proud of you. You did make one small mistake, she informed me. What was that? I thought it was perfect. I was late getting home tonight because I was at the doctor's. She paused until I motioned with my hand. Come on, if we did meet her, I wouldn't be having any drinks with you guys. Not that we are going to meet her, but why no drinking for you? Pregnant women shouldn't drink alcohol. It's not good for the baby. The rest of the evening was spent cuddling, discussing which bedroom to turn into a nursery, and name for babies. Strange, we never did get that phone call from Leona.